So they're not going to announce weeks in advance stuff that Catherine's doing. It'll be more the sort of last minute stuff we've got used to in the last year or so. So if there is a cancellation, it's less of a big deal.
But she has warned us. She has said that, when she was at the hospital a couple of weeks ago, she has said that, her recovery for patients, it is quite difficult, and give us patience.
It's not setting it up perfectly. It's not clearing your house away so you've got the perfect studio set up, but it's really capturing those moments that feel real to you and that capture a moment or an expression. Or a feeling, I suppose.
But after everything that the Princess Isabel's been through lately, and then she didn't appear at Royal Ascot, we only got told a short time before the actual state banquet that confirmed that she would definitely be there. Is that the future? Is that what we have to expect now, Simon, as press and members of the public?
Yeah, I think so. And in fairness to Kensington Palace, they did say that at the very beginning. We're not going to announce stuff way in advance because there will be last-minute changes. There will be last-minute cancellations.
All right, so let's talk about Kate Middleton, the woman we've all seen smiling through thick and thin, but lately something's felt off. Like she's smiling, but it's not really reaching her eyes anymore. And honestly, the palace isn't doing a great job hiding it either. Now, here's where things get interesting. Behind those picture-perfect public moments, there's been serious tension, especially between Kate and Queen Camilla. And this isn't just a case of clashing personalities or silent treatment at dinners. This has been building up for a while. We're talking about a woman who's been at the center of royal life for over a decade. She's done everything by the book, supported William, raised 3 kids under the spotlight, taken on royal duties like a pro, and still, she's being sidelined. And not just by chance. Camilla's had a hand in that. You probably noticed the difference around the time of the coronation. That's when the cracks really started showing. It wasn't just one thing, it was a buildup. And Camilla, she didn't hold back. This wasn't a slip-up or some palace mix-up. This felt personal. Kate's not the kind to speak out, but her silence, that's been loud. And now Prince William's stepping in, because this time Camilla might have gone too far. Let's get into how this all exploded. So, let's rewind to the coronation, a once-in-a-generation event full of tradition, history, and eyes from around the world glued to the screen. You'd think all the royals would come together, united front, right? But while Charles was being crowned, Camilla was making it known this wasn't just his moment, it was hers too. From the second she stepped out of that car, all eyes shifted. Camilla arrived decked out like she was born for the throne, and she didn't just show up, she made sure her people did too. Camilla's relatives, who honestly have zero royal rank, were seated front and center, VIP style, right in the middle of it all. Now let's talk about Kate, the future queen, married to the heir to the throne. Her parents, reports say they were left completely out of the official guest list even though they were supposed to be there. People who have supported the royal family, shown up for all the big milestones, just suddenly cut out. And it wasn't just that. Viewers caught this one moment. William and Kate looking at each other during the ceremony. You could feel the tension in that glance. Let's be real here. How do the future king and queen get pushed to the side at the most important royal event in years? That's not a slip. That's not a scheduling error. That's a message. And it wasn't from Charles. And that was just the beginning. Because once that crown was on her head, Camilla didn't slow down. She shifted gears completely. From day one after the coronation, she started tightening her grip. Camilla allegedly began nudging Kate out of certain royal events. Now, come on, Kate's not just any royal. She's the most popular figure in the monarchy right now. You don't accidentally forget her. You don't accidentally cut her out. This wasn't some admin error. This felt personal. Like Camilla was clearing the path, making sure there was only one queen everyone was focused on. And Kate? She didn't fight back in public. That's not her style. But insiders say the tension behind the scenes, it's been thick. And guess who's definitely not falling in line with Camilla's little takeover plan? Princess Anne. Princess Anne doesn't chase the spotlight. She doesn't do messy interviews or tabloid gossip, but one thing about Anne, she pays attention. And when something doesn't sit right, she acts. So when Camilla started pulling strings behind the scenes and things started getting weird around Kate, Anne noticed. Now let's be clear, Anne's not the type to jump to conclusions, but she started spotting patterns. Guest lists that were finalized then suddenly changed last minute. Kate's name disappearing from event schedules. Media coverage flipped overnight praising Camilla while dropping these jabs at Kate, like calling her out of touch or struggling to keep up. Anne wasn't buying it. She started doing her own research. And bit by bit, it started lining up. Camilla was influencing more than just press coverage. She was allegedly having a say in who gets invited where, how events are run, and who gets the spotlight. And it wasn't looking good for Kate. Kate has always kept it together, but behind that grace, things were crumbling. Camilla allegedly made a comment to a BBC reporter saying something along the lines of Kate not being strong enough for the pressure. Now that one sentence? It spread like wildfire. Headlines started calling Kate fragile, painting her as too delicate for the role she's been preparing for her whole adult life. And that's when things got really raw. Remember that charity gala? Kate showed up in this stunning gown, smiling like she always does. But if you really watched her, the light in her eyes wasn't there. It wasn't the same Kate we're used to seeing. That night she went through the motions, but it felt like she was running on fumes. Insiders say just days later, Kate collapsed from exhaustion. No cameras caught it, no official statements were made, but people close to her said it wasn't just tiredness. It was a full emotional and physical breakdown. Years of pressure, silent battles, constant comparisons, and then on top of it all, Camilla trying to push her out of the royal space she's worked so hard to hold? Yeah, it caught up to her. She's human, and while we've all admired her strength, there's only so much a person can take before they hit their limit. But here's the twist. Kate wasn't alone in this, because once Prince William found out what was really going on, he stepped in. And y'all, he didn't come to play.
We've all grown up, differently to our other generations, and I very much feel if I can do it myself, I want to do it myself. And there are times when you can't do it yourself, and the system takes over, or it's appropriate to do things differently.
William has always been known as the level-headed one, the one who keeps the peace, avoids drama, and plays things safe. But when Kate hit her breaking point, when he saw how hurt, how exhausted she really was, something shifted in him. And this time, he didn't stay silent. First, William went straight to Camilla. He pressed her, asked why certain stories kept circulating, why Kate kept getting sidelined from events at the last minute. And when Camilla didn't give a straight answer, William turned to the advisors. He called in senior staff, demanded explanations, asked who approved the guest list changes, who leaked those whispers to the press, why nobody told him Kate's name had been removed from the Summer Garden Tour, an event she'd helped organize. And guess what he got when he tried to loop in his father, King Charles? He didn't want to get involved. Whether it was to protect Camilla or avoid stirring more palace drama, he just stayed quiet. Imagine that. You're trying to protect your wife from being dragged, sidelined, and emotionally torn apart, and your own father won't back you up. That had to sting. But just when it seemed like Camilla had dodged accountability again, Anne made her move. Anne had been watching all this unfold. She'd been gathering facts, and when William hit a wall with Charles and the palace staff, that's when Anne handed him everything. The folder had it all. Emails showing how Kate's appearances were canceled without her knowledge, memos with Camilla's handwritten notes suggesting alternative PR angles, guest lists that had been altered just hours before events. It wasn't just speculation anymore, it was real, documented proof that something shady had been going on. Armed with those receipts, William began pushing for something the firm rarely embraces: transparency. He wanted the truth out, no more smoke and mirrors, no more covering things up to protect reputations. It was time to clean the house. And once the press caught even a whiff of what was going on behind the scenes, the tone started changing. Suddenly, those headlines that once painted Kate as fragile were asking why she was being excluded, why her presence at royal events was becoming more rare, why palace insiders were so tight-lipped. And just like that, the tide started to turn. Kate may have had her moment of collapse, but don't get it twisted, she's not finished. In fact, this might be the start of a whole new version of her. She looked strong, like she'd been through the storm and was still standing. And with William taking her side publicly and Anne pulling strings behind the scenes, that silent sabotage Camilla thought would go unnoticed? Yeah, not so silent anymore. So now the question is, what's next for the royal family? Will Charles finally acknowledge what's been happening? Will Camilla be held accountable for the role she played? Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you Team Kate, or do you think there's more to this story than we're being told? Hit that like button if you believe Kate deserves better, because this royal drama, it's just heating up.